Welcome to Top Down with TCM. I'm your host, Weston Weinberg, joined by Azaan Barlas, my co-host. And today we are speaking with Vanessa Gonzalez and Alexis Hartman. Vanessa and Alexis, can you two please introduce yourself to the viewers?
Of course. So my name is Vanessa Gonzalez. I am a TCM student. I am part of the technology sector, specifically for Infotech, and I'm also a co-PM on the bonds team.
Hi everyone, my name is Alexis Hartman. I'm also in Titan Capital Management here with Class of 2021. I sit within the finance sector and I'm a PM on the equity portfolio.
Cool. Thank you guys for introducing yourselves. Now, off camera, we kind of spoke about the main thing we wanted to talk about today, which is this thing called the Investment Research Challenge that's kind of based for like specific schools in the Southern California area. I'm not explaining it that well, but could one of you guys talk a little bit about what that was and how that experience was?
Absolutely. So I can just dive right in with what exactly the Investment Research Challenge was. And we also are going to be calling it the IRC moving forward. So just a heads up. So what is it? Well, we have the CFA Society, which is the Chartered Financial Analyst Society. It's a very high mark in finance, and it's the best of the best. So they offer a competition in equity research where you are given a target company, and you create a stock pitch and a recommendation on the company, either to buy, sell, or hold the stock. And you also model it out and come up with a price target, and then do full-blown qualitative analysis. And then you write up your report and you submit it, and then you also present to a panel of judges within your specific regional district. And then from there, you have the opportunity to advance to both the state, national, and then international level, where you can be crowned the winner of the entire CFA competition. Vanessa, do you have anything to add to that?
Wow, no, I think you explained it perfectly. That sums it up pretty well. It is our report was about 22 pages, so it's quite a big, long report, and the presentation was 10 minutes, and we had a Q&A afterwards. But that was it. She did a great job.
Absolutely. So yeah, the report did have a limit of 30 pages, so it was very long, and it's quite a strenuous challenge in a good way.
Most definitely. We started in October, and I believe our report was due in March, am I right? And then we had our presentation in April. Is that correct?
It was due like in our paper was due in January, presentation in February, and then I think March is like when we presented.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. There we go.
Yeah, but you guys summed it up pretty well. Thank you for the explanation. So I guess to get a little more into it, like, if for any of the Smith kids or future TCM kids that are watching this, they might think, oh, that's just like another report. Can you guys explain why it's like not another report, and how much more work do you think goes into it than like a normal like buy for like a bank or like a technology company or something?
Of course. So it's very different because it's not just you. So it's not an individual challenge. It's actually a group challenge. We have, I believe, a limit at 5 people to join together to actually do the report and the presentation. So it's 5 individuals putting their time and effort into one report. It was a lot more intense because you're going up against different schools. Like here in our region, we went up against UCLA, we went up against USC, we went up against, what other college? Chapman was there as well, right? Or no, was that not our region?
Chapman was the other, sorry.
The other region, you're right. What was the other ones that we competed against?
I think it was like Pepperdine.
It's because we weren't allowed to actually know who was presenting when, because the judges weren't allowed to know, so it was hard for us to know about that, but yeah, do you have anything to add, Alexis?
Yeah, it was really great. So we competed against everyone in the LA region. Our school has been entering the Los Angeles region since last year. So last year's TCM class actually won, as well as this year's class. Congratulations, Vanessa. This year we had 2 teams in the competition. So yeah, we entered that, as opposed to, say, for those of you in Smith who are maybe watching or listening, you guys participate in the CFA OC region with your presentations and competitions. So this is a little bit different than the request for proposal, not only regarding the amount of depth that the competition goes into, but also your region. So it's a chance to compete against new schools and new students, which is really great.
Yes, and also the amount of time you're given for the actual project and report and presentation also, I think, gives you more of a sense of how long or how much time you need to prepare and to put into it. It's definitely not a 2-week long project. It's quite intense, yeah.
Now, if I recall correctly, the IRC is where they give you a company to work on in the competition. Can you tell us a little bit about the company that you did work on and or the stock that you did work on and what exactly you found out about it? And was it like a buy, a sell? How did you come to that conclusion?
Yeah, most definitely. So as you can see, I'm actually using our background that we used for our presentation. So we use Snapchat as our target company. That's something that's assigned, so we don't actually have any say or we can't put a preference in. And Snap is a very interesting company because they are a high growth technology stock where they're also pre profitability, which is interesting because it's a tough model to do and tough to evaluate a company that doesn't have any like positive earnings. Do you have anything to add, Alexis?
Yeah, so when Weston asked kind of about our recommendation, I think both of our teams this year recommended a sell on the company. We felt that it was a little bit overvalued given their ARPU, which is their revenue per user. And the conditions of the pandemic really spurred a lot of growth within the company. However, once we leave this pandemic and, lockdown, stay at home type of environment, it's highly likely that people will not necessarily be sitting on their phones looking at ads all day anymore, but instead we'll go back to normal life, hopefully in the workplace and with our friends in public. So there's definitely two very interesting sides to that coin. If you look at Snapchat's reports and what their management team says, they would argue the counter that when people go back to regular life, they're going to want to show their friends through Snapchat, and they will create revenue by using the filters and using geotags and things of that nature. But that definitely differed from our view, especially because they are investing in regions like India, which don't have high expendable incomes. And additionally, that currency translation is not necessarily material in the US dollar. So for that reason, we did recommend a sell. And those were kind of just some of the facets that we looked at when analyzing the company and their total addressable market.
Cool. Thank you for sharing about the company you did. Now, we also know that for the IRC, there are two parts to it. There's a super long paper they have to write and a presentation to go along with it. Would you guys like to share which one you like doing better or some struggles you faced that someone going into IRC might not know about until they get in? Like just basically warning whoever wants to do it, like what they might have to encounter.
Definitely. So when it came to the writing, that part I liked because I'm better at writing than modeling. But as we're going to talk about some of the keys to success for the challenge, is having a very diverse team with different skill sets. So having someone like, say, our friend Ryan, who's a modeling wizard on our team, really helped out, and it definitely took the pressure off of us in regards to the quantitative aspect. So that was definitely important. And, the writing as well as the evaluation and being able to be mentored by someone in industry besides our professors that we normally hear from was really cool because it broadens how we think about things. And the criticism that we received, I feel really helped sharpen your skills and really help us grow beyond just what we're learning in TCM. I don't know about you, Vanessa. Do you want to share?
Of course, definitely. I mean, there's the word challenge in the name for a reason. So yes, I would totally agree. It is challenging. I think it's an incredibly rewarding experience. I think we all feel very proud of ourselves to be able to have said that we were part of it and we were able to participate. Like Alexis said, being able to be mentored by different people within the industry is a very unique experience, and it really allows for them to give you a perspective from a real world perspective, like within office. I think sometimes when we're in university, we're so used to university level work, or just getting making a report to get a grade, or making a proposal to meet a standard for class. That's not the same as when you're trying to win a competition and you're going up against really amazing schools and programs that have a lot of resources. Specifically to learn which one I personally like better. I like the presentation better, to be quite honest. I like talking, and I like to be able to show off all the hard work that we did, all the research that we did, and even like our own personal research. We even conducted a survey that got quite a bit of buzz around, so it was really great. Presentation for me was best.
Cool. Yeah, I would definitely agree on like different people having different skills is so useful. Like I hate presenting, but like writing is like my strong suit as well. Yeah, and like Vanessa, like I feel like she's a good presenter, and like it motivated me too, because like that's not my skill. Like it's definitely very nice to have different qualities in your team. But I think Weston, you had a question, right?
Yeah. So obviously, when it came to the evaluation of SNAP, like you utilized a lot of qualitative and quantitative research. And I wanted to focus a little bit more on the qualitative side. Like what sort of sources do you use to filter through information to come to your recommendation for a sell, specifically on the qualitative side?
That's a really good question. Our team really struggled with this one, actually, because with them being like so new and like basically such a new company within technology, there's not necessarily established data out there like you would have with, like, say if we were looking at like Goldman Sachs or like a bank that's been around for a long time. So that was actually quite challenging, and for our team, we really just scoured the internet and used like Statista and every like data compiler that we could find. In addition to using whatever was provided by management through investor relations, listening in on the transcripts of their calls every quarter, that was really helpful. And then also just looking at the addressable market through Google as well.
Definitely. I would have to agree with Alexis. Scouring the internet was our best friend, because that's, like she said, most of what we had. There's a couple of really interesting resources that we have here in TCM. So we have Seeking Alpha, which is a program that gives us different kind of analysis for different companies. They give us breakdowns of financial statements or breakdowns of ratios that we can use. So that was really helpful, just to get other people's perspective in the industry and to see where the market's mind was at the moment. We also have FactSet, so we were able to look at like estimates again from different firms that gave them target prices. So it helped us kind of have an idea of what was reasonable for a stock price. Because at first I remember we had a really low stock price, since they are pre-revenue, so it's kind of difficult sometimes to get it a little closer to where the market was believing that the price should be at the moment. And what else did we use? We also had a really amazing opportunity where we actually were able to talk directly to the investor relations team for SNAP, and we actually were able to ask them a question. That was a very unique experience, and everyone that participated in the regional level of the program got to do that with us. So that was really special, I think.
Cool. I guess my next question kind of it isn't super related to the qualitative question, but I guess it could be. But I would like to ask, what is one thing or a couple things you feel like you improved greatly on after doing the IRC? As in, like, if you were maybe talking to an employer and they asked you, "Oh, what is this experience you did? You did some challenge. Like, what would you tell them you learned in this in the IRC?"
Yes, most definitely. So I would have to agree with your statement earlier about having a diverse group. I think our group was completely diverse. I don't think we've mentioned this yet, but Azaan was actually the leader of my team. So he brought it home for TCM this year. And I think my biggest growth was really like pushing myself to find better research. Like Alexis said, that was one of the biggest challenges we had. So a lot of the questions that we get or the feedback from some of either our mentor that we had or even just other alumni that came down to help us, we didn't have answers for because it wasn't necessarily readily available. So really pushing the limits to our research, like I said, making a survey, something that I feel like normally, especially in the middle of a pandemic, you wouldn't think like, let's go around and ask people their opinion. So I think opening your mind up to what kind of research you can do, and definitely like Alexis said, just evaluation. Our model, Edgar really pulled in. Shout out to Edgar.
Yeah.
He did a great job with the modeling, and it really helped me understand just the modeling that we do regularly for reports. But go ahead, Alexis. I'm sure you have something to share.
Yeah, kind of just to shed light from a little bit of a different angle. Something different, since we do get a lot of like fundamental analysis exposure through TCM and stuff, just a different angle. Through the challenge, I would say the best skill I learned that I could bring to my employer and also future students can too in an interview potentially would be discussing teamwork, as well as time and communication. So to me, those would mean overcoming obstacles and adapting. So we are in the pandemic, which was a little bit difficult because we had to find new modes of communication and working together and adapting digitally. So I think that's a massive skill that we can take to the workplace. I mean, we still need to be digitally capable when we go there. So that's something great that transfers. And then additionally, regarding teamwork, so you're under really specific time constraints as well as a lot of stress and pressure. I know with my team, we all had different jobs going and commitments at the same time, and we had very conflicting schedules. So really learning to communicate with one another during that time and work together as a team was extremely useful because we saw like how much we can do by working together and really like just embracing the different skills that we had. So that was something that I really enjoyed from it and took away with me.
You know, Alexis, I'm really glad that you brought up the whole like time management and communication. Because I do want to take this as an opportunity to talk both of you up. Now I know Alexis and Vanessa both managed a portfolio in TCM. At the same time, they were working. At the same time, they were in school, and then they won the CFA IRC competition, right? So how were the two of you able to manage your time correctly to succeed on all four of those fronts?
That's a loaded question, man. Yeah, so to be honest, I was running on East Coast time and West Coast time during the competition, which was really brutal. So like basically what I would recommend that like works for me personally would be we have the Outlook calendar in our email. You know, that's a great skill to have in and of itself to know like the ins and outs of it for when you go to the workplace. So learn it now. Like, why not learn it now? Schedule your calls down to, mine were literally scheduled down to like 5-minute intervals. Just squeeze the most out of the day and try to stay productive. So that's kind of how I approached it, was just a really strict regimen. I don't know about you, Vanessa.
Definitely. Thank you for your question, Weston. Because yes, it was definitely the most stressful time. I think being part of TCM has also partially taught us how to manage our time better because we have so many things that we're trying to accomplish at the same time, and we have a duty to our stakeholders, and we have a duty to everyone that we've committed to, and even to our team, making sure that we had the time available to meet together and making sure that our report was done. Personally, what really helped me, I would have to agree with Alexis, was definitely time blocking. So I there was a point in the day where, to be honest, there were some days that I would barely see sunlight because it was just going from work to class to IRC right after, and then it was just kind of like, let me go get some air. But yeah, just time blocking, making sure that when you're focusing on something, making sure that all your attention is given to it. And then for us, I mean, we weren't even in the same room together until after the competition. So we actually were able to pull all this off without ever meeting each other. So one of the things that we learned to do too was to be really focused when we had our meetings, because it's really easy, especially since we all have our own things going on in the background, to get caught up with talking about the latest news stories or maybe the newest thing, hot topic on the town, and not focus on necessarily the work at hand. So being really good about making sure this is a 30-minute meeting, this is how long the meeting's going to last, and we're going to make sure that we hit 10, whatever many points we have for the day, for the agenda. So yeah, just being very focused and tracking a regimen. Yeah.
Cool. We don't want to keep you too much longer, so this is gonna be my last question. I don't know, Weston might have another one after, but so there's so many things that went into this competition. We I guess fortunately made it out with a positive result, but it was a lot of work. So I want to ask you guys why you did the IRC, and why should an incoming TCM student do the IRC?
That's a really good question. I personally did the IRC just to broaden my scope of knowledge and push myself to further develop my skills. Given that it was a lot of work and I feel like we were competing on a whole new level, that was really useful. I learned so much just from listening to our other students compete and those around me. There's so much you can take away, and something else really interesting that you can gain, and a great reason that I think you should do it, is because you get to network. You get to network within industry and with peers from other universities and really expand that. And I mean, that's priceless when it comes to moving out of university into the real world. So that was a big driver for me. And then one thing that I would like to say is you will get to know your peers really well, and it's actually a lot of fun. So if you do decide to do it, which I highly encourage, just make sure you take a step back and have a good time. Our team definitely laughed a lot, even when it was stressful, and just make sure that you have fun with it, because at the end of the day, you will come out alive and you'll learn a lot.
Great answer. No, definitely. I would have to agree with everything she said. I think our team as a whole got really close together. I think it bonds you. It creates not only networking opportunities with other teams, but even within your own group, because you get to know each other. You spend so much time together that you get to know each other very well. And those are some of the relationships that I think are priceless as well. But yes, opportunities to network outside and really, like I said, just talk, have a different level of conversation as well, because you're not talking to just your average student that knows just as much as you do from 340 or 321. These are regular professionals that do this for a living and really have put their money where their mouth is when it comes to taking risks. But at the same time, for me, yes, it was a lot of fun. I think I would always recommend to do it. To be honest, I've never taken on a challenge and been disappointed with what I came out with, even if it wasn't perfect, even if we didn't, like Weston said. I mean, it was amazing that we won the competition. Obviously, you join a competition to try to win. But even if we hadn't won, I think we would have all still been very happy to have participated, because like we all said today, it pushes you to really become the most efficient you've ever been, to be the best communicator you've ever been, to put in the most work you've ever had, because we have so many things that we want to perform at the same time. So it's amazing, and it's a unique opportunity. I don't think there's any other competition like it. So, and once you graduate, it's this is not something that you get to participate in unless you go to grad school and join that way. But still, it's a great opportunity, and it's unique, and it's, like you said, something that we can speak to any employer.
Cool. Those are some really good reasons. Hopefully the incoming TCM students are convinced and they win it again.
We'll mentor you guys. Good luck.
Good luck.
Yeah, but before we close it out, do you guys want to share anything else or have anything else to talk about, or should we close it out?
I do want to say one thing. I think Alexis and I both bring a very unique perspective because we're also the two only women within both of the teams. Within TCM, obviously, there were other teams that had other women, but even within our teams, we were the only two. So I would tell the women out there that are in finance to not be intimidated, to just jump in. I think everyone's more than happy to work together, and even though it's a lot of work, it's like I said, completely worth it. So you never know how strong you are until you test it. And maybe I'm a little too good at testing it, but you'll never regret it. So all the women out there, don't be afraid to speak up and join and make your voices heard because we need different perspectives.
Definitely agreed. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today on this episode of Top Down with TCM. And to the viewers, thank you for watching. And thank you to our special guests, Vanessa and Alexis, two of the three women in TCM. We really enjoyed hearing you guys' perspective today. And to the viewers, we'll catch you on the next episode. Later.
Thank you. Bye.